Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is a question that comes up in the music community a lot, which is the question of, are the Beatles overrated? So, for this video, I'm going to discuss the question of, are the Beatles overrated, in a simple and straightforward way so anyone can understand it. So, now that I mentioned that, let's get started. So, when it comes to the topic of, are the Beatles overrated, a simple answer to the question is no. The Beatles are not overrated. And the reason why I say that they're not overrated is simply due to the fact of the massive influence that they've had on music as a whole, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, even though as human beings we all have different preferences, one person likes this, one person likes that, and that person likes that, and that other person doesn't like that, and so on and so forth. One thing that is very true for certain, though, is that you have to keep in mind, though, that certain people, for that matter, okay, when it comes to, of course, entertainment, and specifically in this case, music, have objectively, you know, left their mark on music as a whole. So, in all honesty, it's not a case of, oh, it's down to my personal preferences, or I personally just don't like Beatles songs, they're overrated. No, it's actually a case of, no, they actually deserve the hype they get around them. Because whether you personally prefer their music or not, the impact they've had on music is simply irreversible. Because when people are talking about, are they overrated, um, as a whole, overrated, especially in this context, music for that matter. Obviously, we're basing it, when it comes to an academic way of thinking, we're basing it more on how talented they were or how much impact they've had, to sum it up in general as a whole. And when it comes to impact, if you like rock music, which, let's be honest, everyone has at least one rock song or a few rock songs that they like, okay? Let alone a lot of music in general for that matter, was, but specifically in this case, rock music, okay, for that matter. Um, you know, if you have at least a few, or a few, one or many, whatever, the point of the matter is, all of those people you listen to, either one or two things, were directly inspired by the Beatles, or at least had someone that they looked up to who was inspired by the Beatles. So when you look at things like that, you cannot say that they're overrated, because simply their impact is simply, undisputed. You cannot talk about they're overrated when you look at facts like that, because that's something objective. Okay, that's not a case of if, ands, or buts, or preferences, or all that type of crap people make it out there. You know, make up, I should say, for that matter. It's simply a fact of the matter. Okay, so that's the truth. So no, in short, the Beatles are not overrated, and that brings me to my second point, which is that when it comes to, think topics like this, and why I use the Beatles as a perfect example. The truth of the matter is that the Beatles are a good example, um, when it comes to this particular issue of what is overrated and what is not. And that is the reason why I use them as an example. Because the truth of the matter is, in this day and age, everyone we have so many people who pull off that shit. They're always going like, "Oh, that person's overrated, this and that." And sometimes you present them the facts to kind of go like, "Okay, they're not overrated." And I say, "Well, it's my opinion. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. In all honesty, yeah, everyone is, yeah, not to mention the ones who just say stuff like that because they want to sound smart, and they want to sound like they're brilliant and articulate for that matter. But the truth of the matter is, for that matter, to put it bluntly, when it comes to that particular topic, the simple answer to that question is that they're not, okay. And I am trying to elaborate on is that I just hate that talking point. Okay, I hate that talking point. Oh, it's overrated because I hear a lot of people talk about it. I want to show that I have high class and I have high taste and I know things that no one else knows. And it doesn't help that people who tend to say things tend, I know, and just in general in life, I know it's people who are negative, and people who kind of are certain types of people tend to have certain types of fucking faces. And yes, this is very true, that makes them even more dislikable. Sometimes you just even just look at someone and say, I know what type of person this guy is just by looking at his face. Whether it could be the stereotypical looking kid who are like, oh yeah, he must be a bully, aside from the fact that he looks like one and his name is Billy, which the stereotype is that everyone who has the name Billy is, of course, a bully. Whether it could be things like that, or it could be, in this case, someone who just likes to say things and likes to say things and doesn't seem to care how much it hurts people and just says things because they want to sound smart and they just seem to have an apathetic attitude when you respond to it. And it's a case of, okay, so you're talking shit and you literally think that you cannot be called out on it and stuff. Like, yes, those type of people, just objectively fucking annoying. Those type of people, for that matter. Okay, I just want to make it clear that those type of people are wrong and are flawed in their arguments, because sometimes you can objectively, in this case for music, say something is not overrated because you can actually tell it's not overrated, because influence, in this case, is not something that's not a preference. It's simply down to facts and logic, because a lot of the riffs and a lot of the sounds, that a lot of rock musicians use in general, for rock music in general, just about literally everyone for that matter, and the ones who probably say that they're not, that they're lying, are that they weren't, are lying, is that everything from the riffs to the fundamental like chords that they use and so on and so forth, a lot of rock musicians use today, is based off the Beatles. And that's why I use them as an example, because I'm so sick and tired of that freaking argument that everything is subjective. Everything is this, everything is that, everyone has personal preferences, as just so someone can have an easier time shit talking people for no reason. And sometimes they just shit talk because they want to sound smart. But the truth of the matter is the Beatles are not overrated. Because if you say that, then pretty much everyone you can imagine, pretty much suck, if anything, because all of them were inspired by the Beatles. So that's a moral of message today. Just because something is popular, is highly praised, does not necessarily mean it's overrated. It does not mean that, they don't deserve the hype that they're getting. And a lot of people say that type of shit because they just want to sound freaking smart. They want to sound smart, they want to sound articulate, and in the end of the day, when you call them out on their shit, they fall flat and they can only say that stuff and get away with it, when they're picking on innocent individuals who are more vulnerable. But when you actually call them out on stuff, they can't say shit back. And that's what I'm trying to get across here when it comes to those type of people, for that matter. Okay, I hate people like that so freaking much, it's not even funny. They're so annoying. Oh well, everyone else says that, so automatically it automatically invalidates it. Not necessarily. No, I hate people like that so much. I shouldn't be swearing this much, but I'm just saying it's so annoying. To be honest with you. So truth be told, no, they are not overrated. Because the things that they did is something you can objectively tell is a sign that they're very talented. And whether you personally like their music or not, that's not a personal preference. That is not something we're going to judge or talk poorly about you for. Okay? But what is objective is the fact that they were very talented and they had a lot, and they came up with a fundamental formula that's still used to this day for rock music. Okay? And this argument is not just something I'm using for rock music, it can be used for music in general, okay? Like people like Tupac. Some people say Tupac's overrated. Some people might say this particular pop musician like Michael Jackson's overrated, and say all sorts of crap, but in the end of the day, they're not overrated. Because you want to know why they're not overrated? They're objectively talented, so they deserve the hype they get. And that's all I have to say for this video. So I hope you found this video informative, and I just want to let you know, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to sum this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is all I have to say, and simply put it, I'm out. So bye.